Hey, what's going on guys? Chad here with Greenlight Shooting and welcome to this new video. So today we're talking about something I'm really excited about. One of the most common questions I get asked, especially by new shooters, is how to buy and sell used guns, and even whether that's legal or not. And honestly, it's always been kind of a hard question to answer up until this point because there's so many different laws, depending on where you live, there's so many different things you have to follow, and there's some gray areas in there and stuff, and so it's been a tricky area to navigate. But that's why I'm so excited to talk about what we're talking about today, which is guntransfer.com. This is a website that totally streamlines the process of buying and selling used guns. There's a lot of concerns that go through your mind. Say that I wanted to go and buy a gun from someone. You're always wondering, who is this person I'm buying it from? Are they who they say they are? Was this gun used in a crime? In the exact opposite, if I'm selling this gun to someone, is the person that I'm selling this to even legally allowed to own a gun? There's just, there's a lot of kind of ifs, ands, or buts. What if this guy buys this gun and goes and commits a crime with this gun? Is it going to fall back on me? Am I going to be held responsible in some way or another? So gun transfers completely remedies all of those worries. So here's how it works. So first thing you do is head over to guntransfer.com and create a new account. And the account is super basic, just name, address, phone number, email address, normal account stuff. And then once you're all signed up for gun transfer, what that does is it allows them to keep the digital bills of sales for you of your past transactions, whatever. And it also lets you pick which kind of transaction you want to do. So there's two types of gun transfer options. There's the basic gun transfer and the full gun transfer. So in the basic gun transfer, you get buyer and seller identity verification so that both parties are who they say they are. There's a state residency check for both parties. It creates a digital bill of sale with digital signatures from both parties, and it keeps a lifetime digital record of that sale. So in the future, if anything ever happened and you had to dig that up and prove that sale took place, they store that right there for you. So on the full gun transfer, these are pretty awesome. It comes with all that stuff as well as a buyer alias search, a criminal record search, federal, state, and county, so you know that this person is completely, legally allowed to own this firearm, as well as checks the sex offender registry search for this person. So if I was just selling the gun to like a good buddy or something, like I know him really well, I know he's not a criminal or whatever, then I just do the basic gun transfer. So that way you still have that digital bill of sale and everything, but you don't have to go that extra step in doing the whole criminal background search. However, if I was selling a gun online or something, like in Utah, for example, there's a thing called Utah Gun Exchange, where people, it's like a classifieds forum where people buy and sell guns all the time. They go and meet up with someone in a parking lot and do the transaction. That can obviously be a little scary for a lot of reasons. You don't know who you're selling to or buying from for both parties, not only you, but for them as well. They know, who they're buying the gun from, and you know who you're selling the gun to, and that you're both legally allowed to be owning this firearm. And it just gives good peace of mind to both parties. So once you've decided what kind of transfer you want to do and both of you guys have an account set up, it's super, super simple. There's 3 easy steps. So step number 1 is to enter your information, your name, your address, all that good stuff. You will need a social security number. Apparently they're coming out with an iteration in the future where social security number is optional, but it definitely helps to verify that you are who they say they are. They have a whole kind of privacy statement saying what they do with this information. And then if you're the seller, you just provide some basic info on the gun. You can even upload pictures of the gun, which is great, the serial number, all that stuff. And then once you're all finished up with your information, you just invite the other party to the transaction by entering either their email or their cell phone number. So really, really simple, paperless transaction. Then once the other party has entered all their information, step 2 is they're going to verify both parties. So on the basic gun transfer, they're basically just checking to make sure that your state of residency is legit, you are who you say you are, that kind of stuff. Then if you bought the full gun transfer, that's where they're going to go into the background check. They're going to check out the gun buyer's background and criminal record fully in depth, and it actually should only take a couple of minutes. So once both parties have been verified, step number 3 is that it's just going to complete that transfer. So it'll create a full digital bill of sale for you. Both parties can sign it digitally, and you'll both have a record and proof that this transaction took place. You've got pictures and serial numbers of the actual gun as well as both signatures. There is hard proof that this transaction happened, so in the future, if you ever had to prove anything, you've got this at your fingertips. One of the other things I really like about this website is, like I was saying, depending on where you live, each state has different laws for how this transfer has to happen. So they have all the states listed here along with all their specific requirements. So if you need special paperwork or you need to verify certain things, they have everything laid out for you right there. You just select your state and it'll tell you whether it's legal or not in your state. There's 42 states, by the way, where it is legal, and then it'll go through the different steps that you need to take in order to be legit in your state. So that's it for the transfer. It's super streamlined and super easy, and it's great for people who maybe aren't sure of what laws are out there and stuff like that. One thing I do want to mention is the seller does assume all the liability. So, if you sell a gun to someone and you didn't go through a gun transfer system like this, the buyer could go out and do whatever with that gun. The police could trace that gun back to you as the seller, and you could ultimately be held liable. So having something like this as a seller it's invaluable. If something happens with that gun and the police trace that back to you as the seller, and you can say, hey, I've got this digital bill of sale signed by both parties. It's got pictures of the gun. It's got serial numbers of the gun. I did my due diligence and did my research and stuff and sold this gun legally and securely. And I mean, there's no denying that. You did your work that you had to do. And yeah. The other thing I wanted to touch on is these guys are really kind of proactive about protecting your Second Amendment rights. I mean, the government doesn't have access to these records. These guys aren't an FFL. They're not handling the guns themselves, so they don't have to keep records of what guns come in and out and send them to the ATF, anything like that. And they also talk a lot about your private data and what's done with it. I mean, it's locked down so tight within their system that they don't even have access to it. So that's it. It's a pretty straightforward video. I think Gun Transfers is a fantastic service. Obviously, there are other services out there like that. I mean, you can go and take your gun to a physical gun store and you can like sell the gun to them, they turn around and sell it back to the buyer, and they just kind of act as this middleman, which is great because it does provide that background check and everything like that, and that peace of mind. But sometimes the store is really busy, you're not their top priority because you're not really one of their customers. I don't know, this puts the power in your own hands. I really like that about this. One of the things they say on their website is that they're really trying to keep guns in the hands of responsible citizens, which I'm all about. In this ever-changing community and world of guns right now, we got to do all we can, and I think this is absolutely a step in the right direction. And the guys who started Gun Transfer seem like really good guys. They seem to care a lot about not only the website and the service, but the gun community as a whole, which I think is really great. I can get behind people like that. They said also this is their first iteration. They're going to keep improving this service. So if you guys have feedback, definitely leave it below. Leave your comments below on just what you think about the service and whether you're going to use this on your next transfer or not. So I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. That's going to help me out a lot. That's going to help Gun Transfer out a lot. Please share the video if you think that it can help out other people. Subscribe to the channel. We got a bunch more good stuff coming. And yeah, we'll see you next time on Greenlight Shooting. Thanks so much for watching.